Hello everybody and welcome back to the Traxion channel for another video. In the most recent edition of our ACC track guide series, we're going to be looking at the Nürburgring. Sadly, we don't have the Nordschleife on ACC, but the GP layout is still one of the most popular circuits available on the sim. It also suits this series better, as I don't think a detailed track guide of the Nordschleife would be a very quick or easy watch. A 10-second summary would be tricky anyway. Today we are going for the trusted Bentley Continental GT3. It races surprisingly well around here, and is a good compromise in pretty much any condition. If you want to go as quickly as possible, maybe take a look at some of the other options, such as the Audi or the Porsche. Now, let's jump into the analysis. So heading down towards the Castrol Hairpin, you want to position your car on the left-hand side to straighten out this very important braking zone. Brake at the 100 board using the curb on the left. Change down to first, turning in later than you might originally think. Just make sure you get all the way over the inside curb. Put down the power as you pass over the apex, and open it up on the exit to keep the car stable. Try to get back over to the right a reasonable amount, and just as you pass the little grey area of matting that lies amongst the grass, start turning left and trail braking, holding second gear. Get over to the red and white curb at the midpoint of the corner, and that's your apex. Ease onto the power and open up the steering again to use the available space on the right as you exit. Just try not to put too much of the car on the green runoff area beyond the curb, as it's actually pretty slippy. You want to keep your steering angle turning left slightly to prepare for turn 3. Start trail braking just as you pass the point where the green runoff area on the right ends and becomes grey. Haul the car in and shift to first. Make sure you get the left-hand wheels over the red and white curbing, as this will quite literally hook your car through the corner, holding a nice tight line and allowing you to apply a little squirt of throttle. Stay to the left as much as you can on the exit before flicking right and shifting to second, attacking that inside curb and matted area as much as your car will allow. Open out your steering and get fully on the power. Just be careful for snaps of oversteer here. Use all of the space on the exit, but keep 2 wheels inside the white line to avoid a track limits warning. As you move towards Valvoline, position your car over to the right. Get on the extra concrete over the white line on the right, braking on top of the bricks just as you cross over the little side road used in the endurance layout. Begin to move in as you're braking, aiming to roll off the brakes and get the car into the apex about midway through the corner in third gear. It's crucial to have the car hugging the inside here, as the banking holds you on line. Any understeer and your exit will all be about avoiding the grass rather than anything else. With the apex for this one, you want to touch the white line, but be careful not to mount the curbs too aggressively, as they can throw you offline, which basically has the same effect as understeering in the first place. Use a bit of throttle to hold the car left on the corner exit. Straighten up, and just as the curb on the left ends, start trail braking for forward curve. Change down to second gear, making sure you don't turn in too early, and increase your steering when the time is right, aiming to hit a reasonably late apex. If you get this right, you can get on the power nice and early. Just be careful to try and touch the white line on the apex rather than mount the red and white curb, as this can unsettle the car and cause oversteer, such as I did on this lap. It doesn't necessarily cost you lap time if you're on the power anyway, but it's always better to try and avoid it. Run out wide on the exit using all of the green runoff area if required. Heading into the Dunlop Curve, try to angle the car so that you can brake in a straight line, using a tiny bit of extra curbing on the left to do so. Start braking halfway between the end of the black brick area on the left and the start of the next big entry curve. It's tricky to be more specific than that in terms of reference points, but it's actually easier than it sounds to work out the best spot. Start trail braking as you approach the corner, changing down to second gear. Roll off the brakes as you enter, keeping the car tightly towards the inside. If the car runs out slightly wide mid-corner, that's okay, as you can cut back and get on the power nice and early. Either way, use all of the available exit curbing and runoff. Drift back to the right for the Schumacher S's and use a little bit of curb on the entry. As I turn in, I tend to just lean off the throttle a tiny bit, not a full lift, but maybe 50% or so throttle input for a split second, just to make sure the car doesn't understeer. Turn in just before the end of the entry curb on the right, and aim to put your left front wheel up on the curb reasonably late into the corner. Just be careful with car setup and ride height to allow this without bottoming out. If your line is right, you could be back on 100% throttle before you even reach the apex, opening up your steering for the right hand section and carrying as much speed as you possibly can. Use all of the available green runoff here, and the same again applies to the exit curb. Get back to the right for turn 10. Using all of the extra road, brake at the 100 meter board and fully on the green surface. Start turning in just before it ends, and in third gear, aim to put 2 wheels on the inside curb. If your car can handle it, feel free to use the green bit on the inside to cut the corner even more. Use the exit curb if needed, and focus on getting the car back to the left for bit curve. The key for this one is to be turning right again before you start braking in order to use the camber to your advantage and successfully make the apex. Roll off the brakes as you approach the apex, aiming to hit the curbs midway through the corner. Get back on the power as early as you can and let the car run wide on exit. The kink right is easy flat, so take a nice tight line just to shorten the lap. Move right for the Veedol Chicane, braking halfway between the 100 and 50 meter boards. Shift down to third, getting on the power before the first apex in order to pull the nose in and over the flat bit of curb, which settles the car. Be careful to avoid the big block curb on the left hand section, but once you've changed direction and are then firing towards the right hand bit, feel free to absolutely smash the curb this time round. For some reason, the second curb is nicer than the first, so use it to your advantage and just carry the speed. If you are carrying enough speed, you will likely need to use the exit curb, but because it's banked, this will keep you on the road nicely. Coca-Cola curve has no real reference points in terms of when to brake, so requires a fair amount of practice and just going with your gut feel. For a rough reference, as the giant black screen on your left goes out of view, that's roughly the right point to brake. So if your peripheral vision is that of a professional racing driver, you might just be in luck. I tend to go in reasonably early here, scrubbing off the speed with some trail braking, but there are other ways to do this corner. I shift down to second and hug the white line most of the way around, allowing me to keep the mid-corner speed and stability, whilst also being able to apply the throttle nice and early. Open up your steering on the exit and use all of the curb. And that's a lap of the Nürburgring GP circuit, so now let's show it to you again at full speed. Here we have the lap time I set in the video, plus a couple of reference lap times ranging from AM to Pro. AM is the kind of time to aim for when you're first learning the circuit, Pro-Am would probably see you competitive in many online races, and Pro is the kind of lap time you'd expect from an alien in a qualifying session. Hopefully this has given you some fresh ideas. This place can be a weird one in terms of flow, as one mistake often seems to lead to another, and can compromise you for an entire section of the lap. I find that if you're a little bit cautious and make sure you hit all of your apexes rather than trying to steal a few extra hundreds, your lap times will hugely benefit. Just before I go, here's a summary of all the key points in 10 seconds. Turn in late for Castrol, trail brake and don't overshoot turns 2 and 3, attack 4 and use the extra space into Valvoline, turn in late for Ford curb, carry the speed through Dunlop and use the banking, precision through Schumacher S and abuse the runoffs through 10, use the camber through bit curve, focus on your line through Veedol and be neat through Coca-Cola. Thank you so much for watching, we really do appreciate all of the support. If you've been enjoying the series, we'd love it if you would leave us a like and let us know any feedback in the comments down below. This really helps our channel grow. Don't forget that if you want to see more racing game content, subscribe to the Traxion channel and click the notification bell. In the meantime, keep it pinned, thanks for watching and goodbye.